Yeah, what we have here is construction workflow management system. So, and this management system is actually very important for you to understand the workflow that you have in your construction process. So we'll be taking a look at so many things, and we have from planning, resource management, documents to control, and so on. Then we have task schedule and tracking, safety management, communication management, cost billing management, quality control workflow. So all these things put together, we determine the construction workflow management systems that we have. So sit down as we go through the points that are enlisted here. Yeah, so for the project planning, you can understand that you defined the scope of the project, because you actually need to understand what the project is about, right? Then after defining the scope of the project, then you do your scheduling. You are going to schedule how you are going to go about the project, right? That is stage by stage. Then after scheduling, you talk about your budget and resources, because you need to know at this particular point in the schedule, what budget and resources do you need to to work with the specific task that has been given to you. So you define the scope, then you schedule your planning, then you also know your budget and resources that will be enough, that is sufficient enough for the said project. So the next point is resource management. So the resources has been made available to you, right? Then how do you manage these resources that has been given to you? How do you utilize them, to the best of your ability, without wasting these resources that has been given to you, and still arriving at the best possible quality, for the job. So the things we look out for in and under resource management is manage labor, because in a particular site you may have up to 50 workers, 200 workers and thereabout. So how do you manage these laborers that is working under you? How do you control them? How do you maximize their ability to be able to get the maximum output for the particular job? Then the other thing we have is materials. To manage your labor, then I think another point there is to be able to understand human psychology, right? And how to even come in when they have a dispute. How do you resolve a dispute between maybe labor on site, so that because when that dispute is there, it tends to delay the work output. So you try to manage them in a way that will not affect your work output. Then we have materials. Materials are very very crucial to your construction, because if you have your materials available on site, you can easily do whatsoever you want to do. But once the materials are not there, then it becomes a problem, because the time wastage for you to start looking to where you buy from, or for you to start connecting with suppliers, it's a whole time and a whole wastage. So it is very very appropriate for you to actually get your suppliers, who are your subcontractors. So you get them ready, and you link with them, you connect with them via phone calls, via reaching out to them to ensure that the materials are on site. Then even if the materials are not on site, you need to also communicate with your client and so on. Yeah, the next thing is equipment and subcontractors. So for equipment, your bulldozer, your excavator, laser level, surveying equipment and instruments. So you need to understand at what point do you need a specific machine or equipment on site. so that you not just pack all these instruments and equipment and put them under the rain, right? So you actually work with your schedule, so that okay, during excavation I'm going to need the excavator for trenching and so on. Then you're going to need your surveyor to come and do the survey points and all those things during your foundation. So your schedule tends to help you to understand all these things. Then, and subcontractors, your subcontractors are very vital in your construction work, because you need them to do the supply for you, right? You need them to supply you gravel, you need them to supply you sand, cement, and all those things. So you need to always be in contact with them, reach out to them, discuss with them. Sometimes there might be differences in price, maybe a drop in price. They might not tell you, but if you're in constant calls with them, that is when you get to know that okay, there is a drop in price, and you'll be able to yeah. So the next point we have is document control. So when they say document control, I think the first thing you should understand is what documents do you even need, for your construction process. What are those important documents? What are those approvals that you need? And what are those documents that are very important for you to keep as your records? So I think the main drawing, right? You have your architectural drawing, your structural drawing, your electrical drawing, and your mechanical drawing. So these are the variable drawings that you actually need during your construction. Then from these drawings that you have, that is where you're going to do your BOQ or BEME, that is your Bill of Engineering Measurement and Evaluation. So and this bill actually helps you to get figures for all these estimates. You understand? Let's say you for your foundation, the cost of iron, the cost of shuttering, the cost of your labor and all those things. Maybe you go for market survey to know how much your a pound of nail cost, how much your cement costs, you understand, how much your plywood costs. So after knowing all these costs from your market survey, you tend to bring all those costs to into your bill of engineering measurement and evaluation to generate figures, so that you have a figure, you understand, that you estimated. Then after that, it's those figures now that you are going to provide to your clients, because your clients will work with those figures. They are not just going to be reading documents alone, you understand. Yes, we have the working drawings. Then we also have those figures that your client is going to be working with. Then we have approvals. Yes, because we have approving bodies and authorities. So you have to just work on your documents so that all your documents are approved. All right. So all those approvals are very, very, very important, because you can be on site and maybe somebody from the development control will come to check what you are doing and all those things. But if you don't have those approvals, then it becomes another scenario. So it's always good have your approvals and records. Yeah, the next point to look out to is quality control workflow. So quality control is very, very important in your construction process. So you first of all do inspection planning. That means you do inspection, then you also do planning along with your inspection. Then you do testing, because testing is very, very, very important. You have different tests, you understand. So you ensure those tests are in line with the standards that has been given, you understand. Then we also do corrective actions, because anywhere you see that an error is done or a substandard quality is used, you understand, as a quality control officer, it is now in your regards to tell them that this is not correct. So you do corrective actions. Either you tell them they should redo it, or this is not done. They should have a proper way of getting these things done. So quality control is very, very essential in construction. Yeah, the next thing to look out to is cost and billing management. So you track your expenses. So you don't just say because you have a storekeeper on site, so that you're not going to track your expenses, right? So you track those materials that has gone out, then the materials that has, you know, come into the site. And you also track the expenses, maybe the transportation cost, the cost of buying some of the materials you don't have on site, you know, the cost of mobility, the cost of moving some of these equipments to the site, and the cost of digging your trench, the cost of labor and all those things. So always track some of these expenses that has, you know, been done on site. Then the quantity too is very very important, because you need to actually check the quantity, because sometimes they may tell you is 6 bags and they might end up buying maybe just 30 bags. So ensure that these quantities are up to what they said they are buying, right? And you know, also know the variation, understand how the variation works and the payment, understand what you are paying for. You understand? Not that somebody will just write a specific quantity for you, you make payment without even asking them afterwards how many was bought, is there any balance to be returned to the office, and all those things. So these are very very paramount. So your costs and billing management should be very very efficient in this aspect, because this has a very very big effect on you as a construction person. Yeah, so we're taking a look at the next one, communication management. You know, this is very, very important on site. Yes, and because you need to coordinate between clients, meaning you get to the client, you understand the problems that is going on site, or the how am I going to put it, the positive ongoings on site and recommendations on site. Then you also revert back from the client to your workers. Okay, the client says this is the amount he's going to be paying for this so job. So you know, you keep going on and forth like that, so that you ensure that there is proper communication, you know, between the client and, you know, your workforce, right? And you have to also do consultation. You understand? You act as a consultant. You understand? Do proper consultations and revert back to your client. Then you also act as a contractor sometimes. Then, and also to your team, your site team. So you are just in between, you know, ensuring that the communication flows. Because if the communication is not flowing, then it becomes a problem. So you have to ensure that, you know, there's proper communication on site. Yeah, the next point we have is safety management. So safety is very very important, because the safety of those working for you, you understand, it's a responsibility that is ascribed to you. It's part of your role. So you have to ensure that, you know, they are in a safe working condition. So you, and for you to ensure that they are in a safe working condition, you have to actually plan for their safety, because safety planning is one of those things that we usually neglect. You don't provide safety boots for them, hand gloves they don't have, their helmets they are not wearing it, and you are not putting, you know, warnings to these laborers that these are the things to be done. You're not giving them proper orientation of or guidelines to their own safety management. So safety management is very very crucial and essential on site. So you plan for their safety, then you also do inspections, because sometimes you just go on site, you see how unkept, you know, and hazardous practices that is going on site. So you have to do inspection to ensure that your labor, your workforce is safe. Then you also do incident reporting, because you, most sites when you go there, you tell you they have zero records of incidents. But on the other hand, if you check the reality, it's not true. So that is why inspection is very important. Then let them be reporting cases of incidents, so that, you know, you can do proper reporting. Yeah, here are some of the benefits So it helps you to get better project coordination, because with that proper communication, management and all those things, you are able to have better project coordination. Then it reduces delays and errors. There are some errors that are due to negligence. There are some errors that are due to maybe oversight. But once you put all this into consideration, you see that it reduced delays and most of these errors. Then it improved cost control, because once you are checking some of all these things, you are putting notes, you are putting your records, you are asking questions, you are getting answers. It helps you to improve cost control. Then higher quality performance, because you can't have all these 8 points um, proficiently putting together that you not have higher quality performance. Because all this, if you efficiently utilizes all these points, you are going to have higher quality performance. Then fast decision making. Yes, because you now understand the scheduling, you understand what and what is required for a specific job, who and who is required to do this job, what cost is required for this job, what resources and tools and machineries that is required for this job. So that actually helps you to make faster decision during site construction work. Then efficient project completion. So you will be able to see that at the end of the day you meet up with your completion time, and you feel fulfilled, because you won't be running up and down begging the client to give you more time to actually finish up on the work, because you've already done the planning, you've already done your estimation, you know what and what is required. So that is very, very going to be helpful to you. So for your construction workflow management system, so we have the planning, we have the scheduling, right? We have the document control, right? You have your excavation quality check, you understand, you have progress monitoring, right? And so on and so forth. So until you come to your project completion. So all these points are very, very essential and they are important. So once you acquaint yourself with these points, you see that you'll be able to give out the best that you have.